So, the new Demon Slayer movie just hit theaters, and it's already continuing the series' trend of smashing massive profit records. The unfortunate thing about the Demon Slayer verse overall, though, is that it is ultimately not super powerful from a power scaling perspective. Pretty much every well-known anime franchise, from Jujutsu Kaisen to Dragon Ball Z, has multiple characters who can casually solo every single demon and Demon Slayer combined. So, instead, for matchups for Demon Slayer that are close, or at least interesting, we have to look elsewhere. One of the original jokes to come out of the Demon Slayer fanbase is how Muzan, the ultimate antagonist of the series, has a weirdly striking resemblance to the real-life king of pop, Michael Jackson. This raises the question, who is actually more powerful, the real-life musical superstar or the supernatural demon monster who happens to look like him? I started researching this as a joke, but it turns out that this fight is totally unfair, but not in the way you think. So let's get into Michael Jackson versus Muzan. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe, but also if you're on mobile, hype this video so that it can be found by more people, because obviously this is not the normal type of power scaling content that I do. With that being said, let's jump right in. Now, let's start with the power scaling of Muzan, because in this fight, he has everything to lose here. There will be some very brief spoilers for the final part of Demon Slayer, so if you care about that sort of thing, you can skip right to the MJ section and the conclusion to avoid them. Cool? Cool. Now, the first and most obvious thing about Muzan is that aside from Yoriichi and some might argue Kokoshibo or Tanjiro, Muzan is the strongest character in the entire Demon Slayer verse. As a progenitor and the essential king of the demons, there is a reason they almost all serve under him and why literally the entire story is building towards his eventual defeat at the combined effort of pretty much everyone else. Therefore, in a similar fashion to someone like Gojo, it is incredibly safe to say that Muzan's attack potency and speed scale to or above literally any other feat that happens in the story. Now, in the past, I have actually somewhat downplayed the Demon Slayer verse, because people have gone back to the story and realized a couple feats were actually more impressive than previous believed, and also the anime has taken formerly vague or unimpressive anime scenes and made them much stronger. Originally, it was thought that the best feat of power in the entire story came from Upper Moon to Doma, when he uses his blood demon art to create a massive statue made out of ice. This feat came out to multi-city block level, but due to the fact this was coming from the third strongest demon alive, and was a special super move from them at that, not many characters actually scaled to or above it. This left Muzan at just vaguely beyond multi-city block level, pretty weak. However, since then, two more impressive feats have been determined from the anime. The first comes from the Infinity Castle itself, as this place is actually manipulated by one of the Upper Moons, with the Infinity Castle specifically falling apart when she dies. Now, of course, this place isn't literally infinite, but based on what we see, the castle is at worst town level in size, and thus would require that much energy to maintain and move around. Given that this Upper Moon is far weaker than Doma, this upscales more of the verse and makes Muzan by extension that much stronger. Even better though is Gyutaro, the weakest Upper Moon, who in the anime completely eviscerates a massive portion of a city, coming out to nearly 6 times more powerful than the Infinity Castle feat, but still town level in power. This is crucially important because Gyutaro was only slightly stronger than Tengen, the weakest Hashira. Pretty much every Hashira in their base form either directly overpowers or is outright stated to be better than Tengen in some way, shape, or form. This is a massive buff considering Demon Slayer marks increase a Demon Slayer power by an order of magnitude, which means that at worst, anyone with a mark should be 10 times stronger than Gyutaro, and thus be actually a city buster, at least in attack potency, maybe not destructive capacity, with of course Muzan taking on multiple marked Hashira at once while nerfed, so he clearly and obviously scales there as well. As for speed, the verse caps within the lightning speed range, with both characters using lightning breathing, moving faster than their own illusions, and also characters having dodged lightning created by blood demon arts, making this lightning speed pretty consistent. Muzan also obviously has a lot of abilities, though most of it can be boiled down to just being very hard to kill. As the strongest demon, he essentially has full control over his body, with multiple organs, the ability to shift his body into pretty much a ball of death, and can even split apart if his life is threatened. His regeneration is the fastest in the entire series, with his body healing before attacks even finish passing through his body. In fact, the only reason he actually lost was because he got stalled long enough to be burned by sunlight. Though, for this video, obviously we won't let this be an easy win condition and say that the entire fight happens during an infinite amount of nighttime. Overall, this just shows that in Demon Slayer, you're not going to find a more terrifying, powerful, and nigh impossible to kill opponent than Muzan. But is this enough for the King of Demons to defeat the King of Pop? Now, obviously, the real-life human being and musical artist Michael Jackson is not strong enough to beat Muzan. There's no need to cover the real-life accomplishments of one of the most famous human beings to ever exist. Regardless of those accomplishments, I hope that doesn't surprise anyone that he can't normally win, as no human being could possibly defeat a shape-shifting lightning-speed demon with infinite regeneration unless, I don't know, they happen to have a nuclear bomb laying around. I'm also not going to make some lame argument that, oh, real-life people can be all fictional characters. Instead, as a celebrity and artist, Michael Jackson has dozens of different appearances in media, from video games to movies to music videos, that display him conducting far more powerful feats and having more abilities than normal humans do. Now, I'm going to be focusing on actual official content approved by Michael Jackson himself. There are various unofficial versions of Michael Jackson that give him superhuman scaling. For example, Michael Jackson appears as the final boss of the South Park video game Fractured But Whole. In this game, everyone has actual superpowers, and so being able to fight them would unironically make Michael Jackson relativistic in speed and city level in power. So yes, already, right off the bat, there are versions of Michael Jackson that have better overall stats than Muzan. But again, this was super unofficial and unapproved. They literally call him not Michael Jackson in the game. So instead, let's look into Michael's own stuff. The best and most consistent place to look for MJ scaling comes from none other than Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. This was a movie and a video game that released in 1988 starring Michael Jackson as himself. Now, neither product has a lot of cohesion, being more of an anthology of randomly collected events and music videos. However, one of the several plots of the movie involves Michael Jackson taking on a supervillain known as Mr. Big. This guy is a very generic kids movie villain, kidnapping kids and trying to get them addicted to drugs. At the climax of this portion of the movie, MJ gets kidnapped by his thugs and they begin beating him up. Nothing impressive yet. That is, until Michael Jackson makes a wish on a falling star, and I can't make this up, turns into a giant robot and destroys all the henchmen with laser beams. Not to be outdone, he then transforms into a spaceship. It's here where Mr. Big shoots the spaceship version of Michael Jackson with a laser before his entire mountain base gets blown up by a laser blast from the spaceship. Then, without warning, he flies into space, crashing into another shooting star, and causes an explosion that fills the night sky. Does that sound insane? Yes, but it already hints that this version of Michael Jackson might be really strong. But it's still kind of hard to say. Due to how quick and vague all these scenes are, it's hard to judge the strength of the laser, the size of the explosion, or the speed at which he is flying. Some places online say that the laser used by Mr. Big could blow up the planet, but I never saw anything official actually say this unless I somehow completely missed it in the movie. However, the Moonwalker video game actually gives us more details and better feats. Just like the movie, MJ kind of randomly just turns into a robot during the final level, but when he blows up Mr. Big's base, we see the whole explosion compared to the mountains around them, and what follows is a battle in outer space as they zoom past thousands of stars. In quick succession, Michael Jackson shows that he can make mountain-sized explosions and, at least in this weird robot jet form, can fight at massively faster than light speeds, which is frankly absolutely ridiculous, but hey, it happened. Now, MJ obviously has shown other abilities and whatnot in other content, from all of his undead stuff in the Thriller video, to being some vague giant space god in the music video for Can You Feel It, or just the impact of his real-life aura farming had on people. But I think we have more than enough information to put this debate to rest. So yeah, if it wasn't clear from my analysis, Michael Jackson is unironically blitzing and one-shotting Muzan before he could even blink. Again, Muzan is just above lightning speed and city level, while Michael Jackson is at least mountain level and massively faster than the speed of light. There's really nothing Muzan can do to survive. While his regeneration is incredibly effective against powerful small-bladed weapons, how can he regenerate when his whole body is being hit by tiny nuclear explosions at speeds faster faster than anything he can comprehend. The best part is, MJ would probably beat him up in style too, having him explode and going like Shamon or something. In the end, the original easily defeats the accidental copy. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I have no idea why I wanted to make this video, but I hope you at least thought it was funny, or maybe learned about some of the crazy stuff Michael Jackson has done in his video games and movies, as well as the current scaling for Demon Slayer. Thank you to my members for supporting the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.